Magandang araw po sa lahat. Today, we are diving into one of the most challenging yet liberating schools of thought in contemporary jurisprudence, postmodern legal theory. Unlike traditional theories that look for one foundation of law, like natural law's morality, positivism's rules, or realism's pragmatism, postmodernism tells us there is no final foundation. Ang batas ay hindi daw isang matibay na gusali. Ito ay parang salamin na basag kung saan ang bawat piraso ay nagpapakita ng iba-ibang imahe ng hustisya. This theory doesn't destroy law. It questions it, deconstructs it, and opens it to new voices, especially those silenced by tradition and power. When we say postmodernism, we do not mean anti-modernity. Sabi nga ni Gianni Vattimo, it is a self-conscious extension of modernity. Parang modernity na nagtatanong sa sarili, totoo pa ba ang mga pinaniniwalaan ko? Totoo pa ba ang mga pinanghahawakan ko? Postmodernism doubts the grand claims of truth and progress. If modernity said, reason will save us, postmodernism replies, whose reason? Kung modernity ay naniniwala sa mga universal truths, postmodernism naman ay nagsasabing lahat ng katotohanan ay may konteksto, may kapangyarihan at may tagapagsalita. In law, this means questioning whether justice can ever be neutral or if it is always colored by who writes and who interprets the law. Si Friedrich Nietzsche was among the first to say that the rational, autonomous individual, the hero of modern law, is an illusion. Sa kanyang libro On the Genealogy of Morals, he says, there is no being behind doing. The doer is a fiction added to the deed. Ibig sabihin, walang likas na moral na tao. Tayo ay nilikha ng mga puwersang panlipunan, ng relihiyon, ng takot, ng parusa. Law, therefore, does not discover pre-existing morality. It creates morality through systems of reward and punishment. Ang sinasabing individual responsibility ay maaring isang produkto lang ng centuries of discipline, guilt, and power. So, when law punishes, Nietzsche would ask, whose morality are you enforcing? Ito ang simula ng postmodern suspicion sa ideya ng isang innocent rational subject sa batas. Si Michel Foucault, he took Nietzsche's ideas further. He said, power and knowledge directly imply one another. Ang ibig sabihin, ang kaalaman at kapangyarihan ay hindi magkalaban. Sila ay magkasabwat. Institutions such as prisons, schools, hospitals, and even courts produce a kind of subjectivity. Hindi lang nila pinapagalaw ang mga katawan, binubuo nila kung sino tayo. Sa kanyang librong Discipline and Punish, Foucault shows how law and institutions create categories like delinquent, criminal, or mad. Ang batas, sa makatuwid, ay hindi lamang nagre-regulate ng mga tao. Ito mismo ang gumagawa ng mga uri ng tao. Sa ganitong pananaw, the individual that law governs is already a product of legal discourse itself. We are not merely judged by the law, we are made by the law. Traditionally, both natural and liberal positivism assume that law speaks to a rational, autonomous human being. But postmodern thinkers say that legal subject is a fiction. Sabi ni na Duzinas at Gurray, law does not just address subjects, it produces them. For example, when the law defines rape, it also defines what counts as consent and who counts as a credible victim. When law defines citizenship, it also defines who belongs and who does not. Kaya, sabi ng mga postmodern theorists, ang batas ay hindi lamang tagapamagitan ng hustisya. Ang batas ay tagagawa ng pagkakakilanlan o identity. The legal subject is not born, it is written. And that writing, those doctrines, decisions, and procedures reflect power more than pure reason. Jean-Francois Lyotard famously said that postmodernity is characterized by incredulity toward meta-narratives. Ibig sabihin, no single story, whether religion, reason, or progress, can explain everything. Wala nang iisang kwento ng katotohanan. Ang natitira ay maraming maliliit na kwento. Language games, each with its own rules. Law, then, is one of these language games. Sabi ni Jacques Derrida, there is no outside text. Ibig sabihin, wala sa labas ng wika ang kahulugan. The meaning of a law or a decision is never fixed. It is constructed through interpretation, through the politics of words. Kaya't ang bawat legal text, mula sa konstitusyon hanggang sa ordinansa, ay parang palimpsest, laging binabasa, binabago, at binibigyang kahulugan muli ayon sa panahon. Jacques Derrida's deconstruction is not about distraction. It is about reading differently. He shows that texts, including legal ones, contain contradictions and silences that undo their own claims of stability. For Derrida, meaning is always deference, never final, never complete. Sa batas, ito ay nangangahulugang ang kahulugan ng isang probisyon ay hindi kailanman ganap. Ito ay nakasalalay sa pagbabasa, sa konteksto, sa kapangyarihan ng tagapagpaliwanag. He draws a line between law and justice. Law is calculable, sabi pa ni Derrida. But justice is incalculable. Justice is not a rule. It is an event, something that happens in the encounter with the other. Kaya't para kay Jacques Derrida, ang tunay na hustisya ay laging lumalampas sa mga hangganan ng batas. It is what makes the law restless and self-questioning. Si Jean Baudrillard argues that we live in a world of simulacra, copies without originals. Representation no longer reflects reality. It creates it. Law, in this sense, becomes part of hyper-reality, a spectacle that appears just, objective, and rational, but may only be reproducing its own image. Halimbawa, in televised trials or high-profile Philippine hearings, nagiging parang drama, sabi ni Baudrillard. The courtroom becomes a theater of legitimacy. Ang hustisya ay nagiging palabas. Now, Baudrillard warns that this is symbolic violence, the illusion of fairness concealing deep inequalities. Ang batas ay nagmumukhang neutral, pero sa likod nito, mayroong mga naiiwang boses na hindi naririnig, the marginalized, the powerless, the excluded. Postmodernism dismantles the Enlightenment's belief in a unified rational self. Heidegger speaks of Dasein, being in the world where human existence is always situated, finite, and historical. We are not abstract persons. We are beings embedded in context and care. Kay Jacques Lacan naman, he introduces the split subject, the self divided by desire and language. The law, the nom du peuple, introduces us but also divides us, shaping what we can say, feel, or desire. Kaya't sabi ng mga postmodern jurists, legal personality is never natural. It is a social construction. Ang batas ay pumipili kung sino ang may boses sino ang kinikilala bilang agent at sino ang nananatiling object ng legal discourse. Postmodern legal thought converges with feminist, queer, and critical race theories. Catherine McKinnon shows that law's supposed neutrality is actually male-defined. Drusilla Cornell reimagines justice as responsiveness to difference, not as sameness. Si Judith Butler, teaches that gender and identity are performative, acts repeated under pressure of norms. Kimberly Crenshaw, through intersectionality, reveals how race and gender combine to produce indivisibility within the legal system. Sa madaling sabi, the law does not merely reflect society. It produces inequality when it pretends to be neutral. Kaya't ang layunin ng postmodern jurisprudence ay hindi sirain ang batas, kundi buksan ito para marinig ang mga hindi naririnig. Now enter Jürgen Habermas, the defender of modern reason. Ito yung kritik ni Habermas. Sa kanyang librong The Philosophical Discourse of Modernity, he argues that postmodernism contradicts itself. It critiques rationality while using rational arguments. Sabi ni Habermas, you cannot critique power without appealing to reason. That is why he introduces communicative rationality, a kind of reason rooted not in domination but in dialogue. Sa kanyang modelo, the legitimacy of law comes from open and distorted communication, kung saan lahat ng maaapektuhan ay may pantay na pagkakataong magsalita. Kung wala nito, sabi niya, law becomes pure power, not justice. So, Habermas defends modern law as a project of enlightenment, not as control, but as rational communication. But postmodernists like Lyotard respond, your consensus hides difference. In real societies, power, culture, and trauma prevent equal participation. Consensus can become another meta-narrative, pretending equality while silencing those who cannot speak the same language. Si Nancy Fraser, she offers a middle way, non-ideal discourse ethics, where dialogue continues even without full equality, acknowledging injustice as part of the process. Si Saila Ben-Habib naman, dinagdag niya na ang batas should not aim for closure but for permanent openness to revision. Sa ating konteksto sa Pilipinas, ito ay napakahalaga dahil ang batas ay laging dapat nakikinig sa karanasan ng mga marginalized, indigenous peoples, women, urban poor at iba pa. Justice in this sense is not a finished product. It is a continuous conversation. So, where does this leave us? Postmodern legal theory leads us from legal certainty to legal contingency, from foundation to fluidity. Law is not an edifice of eternal truths. It is a network of meanings and struggles. Ang hustisya, sabi ni Jacques Derrida, ay hindi maaring ikulong sa mga artikulo o probisyon ng batas. It must remain open, unfinished, and responsive to what lies beyond itself. Ang tunay na halaga ng postmodern theory ay hindi sa pagbibigay ng sagot, kundi sa pagpapanatili ng tanong, sino ang hindi naririnig sa ilalim ng pangalan ng hustisya? Mga kasama, sa pagtatapos natin, tandaan natin ito. Postmodernism is not about nihilism or cynicism. No? It is about humility. It reminds us that every law, every rule is historical, political, and revisable. Sa bawat kasong hinahatulan, may mga boses na hindi narinig. Sa bawat teksto, may mga salitang nawala. Ang tungkulin ng kritikal na pag-iisip ay hanapin ang mga yon. So, when we apply law, may we do so with awareness that justice is not a conclusion but a calling. Let us keep law open to critique, to compassion, and to the endless pursuit of the just. Thank you very much. God bless you all.